Imagine a world full of peace, passion and prosperity. Imagine if we could see it in our lifetimes. Imagine if we could pass it down to our children. Imagine if we could make the world a better place. I don't know about you, but I certainly had many crossroads in my life. Pain that comes with transition, when I had my baby, when I left work, when I changed countries. And I know it comes with an amount of uncertainty where you're not sure what to do. When sometimes there's an even pain deep in your heart that gets stuck in your throat and you just don't know what to do with it. Well, my name is Alexandra Gold and I am a woman on purpose. And 12 years ago, I was here at Guy's Hospital in London and my life suddenly came to a stop. I was up in one of the wards. I was sent for an emergency CAT scan and I was told that I had a massive tumour in my head. Later that night, I sat on the windowsill of the hospital ward and I made a promise to God, to the universe, to myself, anybody that would listen, that if I got through it, I would do everything I could to make the world a better place. Now, it took a long time. It took a very long time. And this is probably one of the first times I've actually come back to Guy's. And it's not as bad as I thought it would be. But today I want to show you a little bit more about what I do and give you a few ideas of how you can attain your peace. So, I am an author, a poet, and the creator of A Woman on Purpose, where I help women to become spiritually full, financially free, and confidently unstoppable. Now, you might think that those three don't go together, but after the journey that I've had, I know that they certainly do. So, I knew that here was a good place to start and tell you my story. That day was horrendous for me. My world literally came to a stop and I didn't know whether I would live the following day. So I want to show you and share with you some of the techniques I used, some of the thinking that I used, and some of the ways that I got all the answers that I have to form a Woman on Purpose Foundation. Now, looking back over my life, I realised at that time that I hadn't done all that I wanted to do. So over the next few years, after the tumour was removed, I was still quite sick. So I had a lot of time to think. And I realised that I wanted it all. I wanted peace, I wanted passion, and I wanted prosperity. Because I knew that the more comfortable and happy I was, the more I'd be able to give back to the world. So, the first thing I want to share with you is that I had to learn to expand my joy. At the time, I lived just around the corner here, in a horrible 2-bedroom flat, which was infested with mice. I had a baby boy. He was just over a year old and just started to walk. It was a place where nobody wanted to live. And in fact, there were 3 stabbings in the short time I was there. So I had to start from there, from that horrible, horrible place, and try to make my life better for myself and for my son. So what did I do? I had to learn to find the beauty in life. And that I did from looking for it in myself and looking for it around me. I had to change my mindset. I had to change the way I think. I had to change the way I see things, hear things, in order to make the most of my life and the most of my happiness, and in order to come to terms with what had happened to me, and in order to get to a place where I could find my confidence again. I literally had to change my life. I changed who I was, because at one stage I'd lost everything. I'd lost who I was, I'd lost what I looked like, I'd lost not only confidence, but the ability to speak, the ability to be heard, and the ability to do things without immense pain, both physically and emotionally. So it took a long, long time. And I didn't do it all from wallowing in where I was. I had to go and look for it. So let me take you on a journey. Let's go and find some beauty. So where is this inner beauty, inner peace, this beauty that we seek? When I talk about beauty, especially when it comes to peace, because peace is all about finding what is beautiful for you. So when I talk about beauty, our perception of it is individual. And for this series of training on peace, passion and prosperity, I'd like to start off by helping you discover the 3 things that I used to help find my inner peace again. And that all came down to 3 little things: personal presence, how I dealt with taking on my responsibility of self and my responsibility for my personal peace; personal power, and that's how I found the confidence again, the confidence to live as I wanted; and then personal persistence and practice, when I had to redo these things every single day, decide to be positive, decide to be happy, decide to look for the beauty, decide everything that I wanted in life was available to me, and take it, all with kindness and compassion. Now, in order to find your personal presence, I found that I had to look back. I had to look back a lot, and I had to get rid of the anger that was inside me. Why did this happen to me? Why was I left with a baby, which should have been the most precious time of my life? Why was I left with such a huge amount of health issues, financial worries, and just angst? I was in angst all the time. And I had to go and look for it. And if I could give you something right now, I'd put it in a bottle and give it to you and say, hey, here it is. But I can't. This is all about taking responsibility for your inner beauty. And what I give you would just be from me. And it's about discovering your beautiful bits in life, your inner peace, what's peaceful for you, what helps you on a daily basis. I can help you on the discovery of it, but finding it will be your choice. So the first thing I had to do was to get rid of that anger, or at least deal with it. I mean, it always comes up, and I do still have a lot of anger. But what I did was I looked at words that I'd become sort of anti-words, and words that were perhaps not seen in the right light anymore. And I had to get the intention of what they were meant for in the first place. Because I think we try too hard to give new meaning or new words to what was intentionally good in the first place. And by saying that, there are just words that I found I didn't say because they weren't what I felt at the moment. We use words differently. We don't use them in the right intention anymore. And I had to infuse every word I had with kindness and compassion. So if I said something, I didn't mean it malevolently. I meant it from a good place in my heart. And it didn't matter what that word was. Obviously, there are some aggressive words which I can say to myself and still laugh about, but I still have the intention that I don't mean any harm from those words. The next thing I did was actually expand my joy. Now, if I didn't like something, I had to either accept it or move away from it. And that was my decision. There were many times where I had no choice but to take my son to school. And the route there could have been miserable and dire and met with many people that would never smile at me. And I did try to smile at them. That was another tool that I used just to make people smile or just think I was nutty. But I chose to find new ways to get to school, new ways to see things, new ways to expand my awareness and to expand my joy, so that every moment that I had, I could make it as beautiful as I could for me. I also had to accept that some things in my life were dreams, and dreams that I didn't really want. And I know that means you think that you should go after every dream. But for example, there's a beautiful building that looks like a fairy castle that you used to see in books when you were a child. And there's one, I used to go to St James's Park, which is very close to Buckingham Palace, and I look at the turrets against the skyline, and it looks to me like the fairy castles were to me in childhood stories and fairy tales, and it gives me the same pleasure. Now the funny thing is, this place is now a hotel, and I haven't been in it because I don't want to ruin the dream. In fact, I've only just recently found out that it's a hotel because it wasn't on my radar to ruin that dream. That dream was something that just used the intention that I had as a child. And another thing with that is looking at my inner child. I really had to remember the absolute awe and joy that I felt when I was a child. I had to excavate those feelings again. Do you remember skipping down the road and waving your arms? I had to infuse that joy into myself, into my everyday. I had to really try to remember what it was like on Christmas Eve, that feeling of excitement, of expectation, but the happy feeling. I had to remember what it was. So I had to go back and infuse my life with all of those emotions, those feelings, those intentions. So it wasn't just about the words, it was about finding, excavating what I liked. And this went on for everything really. I had to really go back and find out what I loved. What did I love? What have I chucked away because I had fear? Because all of my fears had just become so overwhelming that I'd actually forgotten what I really loved. Now I know some people have dreams for the future, but in order to have dreams in the future, you have to have dreams and be solid in your person. So personal presence is incredibly important. To remember that beauty, what you love, what you see, so what you see in expanding your awareness with that, expand your joy, find your inner child, set the intention to see things in the light intended. And that led me to realize that I had to then find the confidence to actually live the life that I wanted to on a daily basis, with disease, with all the troubles that I had, in the financial dire straits that I was in order to get to a better place. You have to have the confidence to do that. And that brings me to the second point, your personal power. Now, I know for many of us women, it's really hard to feel that you are enough. We're surrounded by the media, which tells us what we should look like, what we should think like, what we should eat, what we should do, what we should wear, how we should feel, what we should put on our faces, in our bodies, in our minds. But then again, you have to have the confidence to do what's right for you. So the first thing I want to say is that you are enough. And I do write about this a lot. I really do, because you are. And if you ever doubt that, if you need something to hang on to, there are always people animals, situations that need your help. And that is about finding your purpose and where you can actually be of value. But it doesn't all come at once. So I don't want you to think that you should have a purpose right now. And that's why I've written this, because I realise that some people need to be given a purpose to fill while they are writing their own. So I understand the importance of regaining your self-confidence, your inner power, your inner strength to carry on, even when times are tough. The third thing that I want to help you with your inner peace is personal practice. Once you've found the good intentions, once you've found your joy, your beautiful part, you need to practice it. You can lose them daily. You need to practice your beauty. You need to practice self-care, self-love, your confidence. You need to say, I am enough. I can do this. It's hard. And you have to chuck all of those silly thoughts into the rubbish bin. They've just got to go. And I literally do that. If I have a negative thought, I have to go and send it away. It's just not, it's not helpful. It doesn't work. It's a daily practice of bringing up your strength. It's a daily practice of finding your inner beauty, or the beautiful part, that peaceful part that is there for you. Because we can give you the practical tools to do the finance. We can give you purpose. We can give you reason. But you need to have that daily practice in you for yourself in order to keep going, to keep that up, to keep it full, to keep you so that you can get to a point where you overflow and your gifts are just coming from a place that just never stops. I hope that this little training video has helped you. I'll put some things underneath here for you to download. I've got a few poems, a few good intentions. If you want to go to the membership site and join up, I've got lots more on there for you. But I'm going to see you next time, where we uncover a bit more about our passions, and how we can really get passionate about life again, about falling in love with life in the next session. But for now, I'd just like to hear your comments on your finding your beauty, your place of beauty, from where you can work from, where you can be present, where you can be powerful, and where you can practice. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.